HA. You start off at your two quarterly.
So that's fine. This is 25.
They move over here. Yeah, come on, and then you can better the breakfast. I'm cooking. I'm going eggs, salt, bacon, Bloody Mary, like coffee.
Jay, you want to sit here? You say, hey, people ask about money, you can answer. I don't know where to find money. We have to get the money.
Tell us enough. I like it. Like Tracy to put you on the spot.
What?
Not like Tracy to put you on the spot.
He can handle it.
If anybody needs wine, Coke, cheese crackers, all over here for you. All right, good.
Oh,
Didn't want to keep you up that way.
Okay, so for O2, maybe we to get started. I got 25, so I was not sure if we should wait, but we can get started. So I see a lot of people in this room actually have a lot of experience. You guys probably already, some of you have probably done quite a bit of investment. So we said I teach the class, but I don't actually teach the class. I wanted more of a conversation, right? So it's more of like, the whole goal is to really do something today that really encourage you guys just to do something for yourself. If you already done one, maybe do the next one. You've already done 5, what's next? If you've never done anything, and if you have any roadblock and you want to get started, how to get started, we can talk about it too. So take it more of a one-on-one, conversation more than anything. But I love my slide there. Why? Because every realtor wants to go by the beach, right? Is that the goal? So if we really want to get into, so this is gonna tie up a little bit of everything when we talk about our long-term goal. So if you in the business, right, to make money, and then when we make money, we always try to use that money to make. I always say make money, and so we use that money to invest in real estate. And so the goal is at some point, sooner or later, we work real estate because we love it, not because we need it. Right. So I always tell my investor client it's good to have options. So if one day you just want to throw in a white towel and say, that's it, that's fine. But I hope it's not that. I hope that we build a scalable business that we can. I've seen realtors that actually sell their real estate business too. And so if we can get to the point that we can sell the business and we still can rely on the passive income, that's the goal. So you probably heard this before, right? If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you're gonna work until you die. I don't mind that. I want to work when I want to work. And the very last one is Tracy. How many of us really go on social media and say, oh, I got the best deal for our client, right? Why you didn't buy it? You didn't do yourself any service by just pass on the deal. And so as a realtor, we have the first dip on the inventory. And we have to be on the fine line when we do this, right? So when I buy a lot of property off market straight from the seller, and we have to walk the fine line that we want to make sure we present the seller the options. Either they can sell to us or either they can put on the market. I always make sure they know the options, right? But I walked to so many appointments that the latest deal that I closed 2 months ago was the house for 28 years. And as seriously, I don't really have a way to walk around the house because it's full of stuff. And the guy smoked for that long too. So I laid out for them like how many options that they have. They can put the money, put the time, get everything, ready, and then put it on the market, or I can buy it. And I run the number. We can talk about how to run the numbers today too. And then I give them all the contact. If you want to clean out a truck, this is a truck person. If you want to do whatever, this or this a pain. So you slip over it and then call me back tomorrow. What you want to do? They call me back and say, I don't want to deal with all the crap. Take it off my plate. But I want this number. Can you do it? I run the number, ask my client, aka my husband, and he said, yeah, cool, go. And then we buy it. And so you're gonna put the property on the market. You're gonna sell to an investor. You are an investor. If you make a good deal to your client, it's a win-win. What's wrong about it? Right? So next time, if anyone that really brag on social media and say, I got a very good deal for my client, maybe think twice about it, right? So we probably know some of this, the benefit of investing in real estate. I am not a stock person. I know zero about stock. I know zero about anything else. I just know real estate, right? And then this is probably a little biased just because that's all I know. But the way I look at real estate is I can go to chain and say, hey, I give you 20% and you give me the rest and I'll make my cash flow. You cannot do that in stock. You go buy stuff with money you got in your pocket, right? And so leverage is huge, and that's why he's here. But we always say try to be careful not to over leverage, right? Why? You want to make sure you make cash flow. How to make cash flow? We're going to talk about the calculation too. The tax advantage. I'm not a tax advisor by any means, so talk to your tax advisor. But you know about depreciation. You know the write-off. You treat it like a business. There's so much you can do to take advantage of the tax. Cash flow, cash is king. Appreciation. Well, so Jane flows taught of you what my investor and one of the guy, and we just laugh about him every time we talk about him, but he always said, oh, the market is so bad, it's so crazy, I'm not gonna buy it. But the next thing he buy another one. He probably like 16 around that. 17. And then he's so smart. He's an engineer. He have a full-time job, just like us have a full-time job. This is our full-time job, right? And then when he buy it, he make probably $300 cash flow per month per property. What you gonna do with 300? You go out on a weekend and then you spend your 300, right? It's not about that. It's about today you young and healthy, and then 10, 20, 30 years later, the property that you bought in the day now is twice or 3 times more. That's your retirement plan like that, right? And so again, there's a little bias too. I don't do life insurance. I always make a joke that I'm really gonna try to work hard enough that I buy enough. If anytime I need to spend money on life insurance or whatever kind of health concern expenses, I'm gonna sell a property and just use it. That's fine, right? So think about that end goal rather than the $300 a day, which is nothing. And we already talked about the very last point. So many things good about it. There's few other people don't do it. And that's the very next one-on-one conversation here. So I know a little bit of some of you, and whatever we discussed today, it's gonna be here, right? So if each of you can just introduce a little bit about yourself, and my question would be, how's your relationship with real estate investment right now? Are you at your first deal? Are you at your third deal? Are you looking to do commercial? By the way, I do commercial real estate too. So if any of you want to talk commercial, we can talk about that too. But anyway, so yeah, so let's just do a little go around and see what's your relationship with real estate investment right now, so that I can learn a little bit about you, and maybe we can brainstorm together how to really move it to the next step. I know you're doing some duplex.
Yeah, so, I have a couple rental properties, I got a duplex right now, renovated one side, rented it out, pretty much covers my mortgage. Trying to do that with the other side, and then that'll be cash flow. And then my struggle right now is there's another duplex that I'd like to get. But my original plan was to do like the BRRRR method and then refinance, and then rates just went crazy and everything kind of had an appraisal issue as well, so it didn't work out as well as I would have liked. So that's where I'm stuck right now, trying to figure out the next step. We're working on it.
Yeah. I know you do quite a bit about a little bit of everything, right? You do in business too, not only real estate, right?
Well, we have a couple rentals now. We were up to quite a few, but I sold those, and then, so I have a couple houses now. And then I have a couple pieces of land.
So what's your next goal?
I want to acquire 5 properties next year, which would be possibly commercial land or residential.
What's your cash flow plan or what's your plan? Is it cash flow? Is it appreciation? Is it both? What is your number? Do you have a plan? Let's just say I want to have the passive income of X dollar year, so that, because the way is if you decide let's just say, I don't know, throw a number for fun right now, 100,000, and we have to work backward. What you're gonna buy, how many you want to buy, did you really come up with that number, what you want yet?
It'd be nice to have 100,000 passive a year.
Then we work backward, and I know you and they are very good at business plan and work backward, right? So that's awesome plan. Julie?
Hello. So my first year in real estate, so I don't have any investment.
Okay.
Properties, yeah, so, but I'm really interested, so here to learn.
We have a next slide, how you can get started too. So, Rita?
I have, I had a lot, I sold it, but I had also, I have now a house and a duplex. The duplex, I mean, we own them from the beginning, so I did not have to go out and buy investment properties, but we neglected the double for a long time. So I had to take everything down to the studs and start from scratch, and now I'm it's printed. And I have also a house, 2,500 square feet.
So you have the contractor that do all the work for you?
I was the general contractor.
You? Okay, that's easy, right?
Very much stronger than she looks.
Wow, that's awesome. But that's also my next point, that one of the slides too, and I might just ahead of myself, but see, you're in this business, you know, a ton of people, right? Build that network. You have a contractor that really like your go-to contractor, right? So you have a lender that really is your go-to lender, right? And so that's what you need to build your team.
But the problem with the contractors is that you can, I don't have it for me, I don't have enough reasons to give them. So when I need them and they're busy, and it just makes that gap of waiting and having to look for somebody else, and
Absolutely. Contractor is a nightmare everywhere, right? But do you really refer your clients to them when they need something? Somebody just bought a house, want to finish the basement, somebody really get ready to have a sale.
Yes.
They get that from you, they need to order your business and really take care of you. But it's always a network that we build over time, that's for sure. Absolutely, but that's super important, so you have the biggest thing nailed down with the construction, so that's awesome. Andy?
Yeah, so right now, I don't have any investment properties.
Get started.
Yeah, so we're kind of interested in more short-term rentals like Airbnb, Verbo, things like that. And also interested in commercial.
Okay, okay, so Airbnb, I don't do short term because I don't know if there's a key potential in Columbus. I don't do it, so I cannot say much, but some of my clients try to do it and finally they can come back to long term. You do Airbnb? Okay.
My client does
Do it anywhere as long as you got history of.
Oh, you mean you went on it?
Money guy.
But a lot of places don't, so when you're looking for lending, they, you know, if you pay Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to ask me, but not in my big. About you because we talk so much about this class together, right?
Yeah, I love that you're doing this. Thank you. Been a real estate investor since 1992 and had to evict an 84-year-old woman. I was 23 years old. That stopped me for about 3 years. It really shook me up, but ended up being the best thing ever happened to the lady because the church stepped in and helped her. But probably bought and sold a dozen over the years. Currently, we own 2 condos in Short North in Victorian Village. And we 1031 exchange 2 single-family homes in Gahanna into a condo in Longboat Key.
Anybody don't understand what is 1031, raise your hand. You're not, got it, perfect. So, yeah, he have a, he have a condo in Florida too, and the Tracy, normally be Tracy, you go to Florida and just know the address, I just drive by, just take a picture, send to him and say, Mick is still there. So that's what I do.
The thing about owning long-term is when you depreciate it for so long, the recapture tax rate is on capital gains is pretty significant. And so that 1031 is an amazing tool for people that have owned property for a long time.
Yes, yes. So 1031, you just keep rolling on, and I have people really right now get into commercial just from the very tiny little residential property back in the day. So it's an amazing tool. So that's awesome.
And cash flow has never been that's never been my goal. My goal is to pay it down when I turn retirement age, which I'm not sure what it will be, but to have it paid off by then, generate cash flow then.
We're gonna talk a little bit about that on the slide too. Cash flow, appreciation, what are we? So, yes,
I'm a new resident, so I'm here just to learn.
yeah, you just started. Both of you together, that's awesome. Yes,
I have no real estate at the moment. I've always been kind of a market guy, kind of in the corporate, not kind of, I'm in the corporate world. I do have a license and I've done some deals. Looking to get out of that in the next year or 2.
options.
We'll have, some cash to hopefully invest into real estate. Looking long term, next 10, 15 years, passive income, that kind of thing. My issue has been finding stuff that makes sense.
Define makes sense.
Like I find things, I think, myself. You do the numbers, it just doesn't add up, you know what I mean? So maybe I'm looking in the wrong places, maybe I'm being too aggressive, maybe I'm being a lot of things. So that's kind of what I'm.
You're concerned with the cancellation in a minute too, but it's a great topic
Just
because
want stuff that makes sense, I'm ready, jump, but it's gotta make sense. And some of these guys are asking.
so when Mick said he doesn't care about cash flow, but appreciation when he retired, does it make sense to you?
That does you.
Well,
That's
I
what
do
it's
care
about.
about cash, but I don't like negative cash.
Oh, yeah. But so,
And it is about long term, it's about, I don't know when time it is, but whenever that comes, but I am looking to transition into other things. But again, you're like, this just doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just, and I'll look back 3 months later, it's still on the market, so it doesn't make sense to a lot of other people too.
okay,
So it's just finding the right stuff.
make a logo offer.
Yeah.
But it's also, if anytime that you run number and any of you, I'm not because I'm Asian and I'm good with numbers, but I have all the table on my laptop, but anytime that you want to bounce idea and, have me run a number with you or whatnot, I'm happy to do. I'm team up with Martha, in my team, and I run number for her, for Rachel's story. I love Martha, my best friend, but, I run number for all the time, because when you make that first decision to buy something, it's not breaking, like, did I make it the right decision, So it's good to have somebody run a number with you and tell you and try to make sense with you. And I remember the very first property I buy, I talk about it with 3,000 people, just to really reconfirm what in my head, right? Sometimes you need a little push. So get out to talk to more people. There's some network in the city that you can network with people too and mingle with people with, like-minded. So push a little confident there. But we can talk about number. It's super, super important. And so, tell me your name.
Bill Henry.
Bill. And your name is Doris. Sue.
Hello. This is my 3rd year into real estate, so I'm new at it. However, currently I do not have any investment property. And
We
I
get
am
started
here
too.
to learn. Yes.
Yes.
I have.
Yeah. Anybody that's not started, well, I'm gonna remember your name. I'm gonna really try to keep you accountable, right? And like, hey, what are you move you to the next step, right? So I'm that kind of person, so be careful. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Deb in Jameson Real Estate with my husband. And we're just thinking about it now, we're curious and we want to find out.
Yes.
Care to learn. Have no idea if you can, don't know what's involved, think you should. But if it sounded perfect, you just
Introduction.
learn, get some ideas and see if it's even possible.
Any possible.
Gotta be, it will be. I'm sure
It's
it will.
possible, 100%. So I'm here to tell you it's 100%. How we can get started and move to that next step, that's a key.
Thank you.
Your name? Yes,
Marcia,
yes. What's your story? What's your relationship with real estate investment right now?
nothing.
Okay,
I'm just hungry for information and I'm considering it.
perfect. The fact that you here, that's awesome.
Good answer.
I know you have a little condo. We talked about it a little bit ago. So tell me a little more. What's your story today? What's your relationship with investment?
Hi, I'm Jim. I've owned a short-term vacation rental property for 23 years.
Awesome.
So it will be fully depreciated in 4.5 years. And I have refinanced it a couple of times because interest rates kept going down. But I will have it paid off in 6 years. I had a second vacation rental property for 12 years, and the market just got so crazy this spring. I couldn't help but, or actually before that, I just had to sell it because.
Got it.
Yeah,
Captured a good market. What did you do with the sale proceed of the property?
so far I've paid off personal debt.
Did you have to pay capital gain on that deal? when you
Yes.
sold it?
I
That's
did.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's a small investment, so,
Okay,
so,
what's your plan next?
if, like he said, if the right opportunity comes up and it makes sense, I'll get another one.
Are you guys looking on the market every day to buy deals?
I'm sorry,
Are you looking on the market every day to buy deals?
not every day, no,
That's why you didn't buy deals.
yeah,
You have to look for 100 to see 10 for you to look at and have look for 1 for you to make an offer. If you
Yeah.
didn't buy anything, you didn't look enough.
Like you mentioned off market, like where are you finding these off market? Like,
It doesn't have to be.
Just conversation, well, I know it doesn't have to be, but I mean, you mentioned off market. I mean, obviously you're in business, so you're getting referrals and I'm sure.
There's a ton, you know, what you have wholesaler, right? That's a whole different topic, right, Nick? I know, but as there, we have to deal with it. So there's a ton of deal from wholesaler. You gotta be careful how you work with those deals, but if you want a bit like more details, there's a group with all the wholesaler deals on there.
There's
You
a
look
few
at
like
it too.
wholesaler, like Facebook groups and stuff, like I follow and stuff,
Uh-huh.
you gotta weed through some of that stuff, but,
Yeah.
so I was just curious. That's all.
It can be anywhere.
Right.
I buy deals from wholesaler, I buy you MLS, I buy you wholesale by owner, I buy you from the seller that wanted to lease list the house. It can be anywhere. That's the gift as a realtor. That you have so many options and you don't have rent costs and all of that. So, yeah, it can be anywhere. That's for sure. So,
You'd be amazed at how many sellers just don't want the hassle. And they're willing to get it done fast, not have to go through the show, get their house ready and all that stuff, so.
and you have to have all the tools to help them. Like, the title company is funny that they called me after closing because I didn't show up at that closing and they called me and they're like, are you sure that we closing in possession today? The house is full of stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I think it that way. And I'm like, and he's like, what did you do? The husband just happened to say, oh my God, Tracy is awesome. Tracy is awesome. And I'm like, I'm here to gonna make some good deal for myself. But the seller keeps saying awesome because I buy the house basis. I'm gonna have the trash girl come in and clean up. I pay her money. I'm gonna have my people come in and do the construction work. And the seller technically pull the luggage out the house, lock the key, put in my key box and get out. That's the benefit that they sell you the house. And you need to make sure you're good enough, enticing enough for them to say, there's more benefit for me to sell it to Tracy, right? Where are we with the route? Cam, right?
Yep.
Yes. What's your relationship with real estate investment so far?
Well, my relationship with real estate investment so far is not.
That's fine.
Yeah, I haven't gotten started, but I've been kind of looking to the future. I'd like to be able to retire probably in about 7 years or so. So I'd like to be able to, I guess in my mind, I'm thinking between fix and flips and buying holds to generate income for me to use after I retire.
Okay, so I was at the other KW, so I know a little bit, so I'm gonna poke on you, right? So I know you're in real estate for a minute.
Yeah.
Tell me why you didn't get into real estate investment, because that's really what we're trying to find out here.
Right, well, ironic enough, that's one of the reasons I got into real estate actually. But I just never, I guess I never really
Thought about it.
actively, yeah, I mean, I represent investors and stuff. You know, I have all this time
Okay,
and I just never,
so basically it's more of a mindset. Now you
Yeah.
just have to turn that switch and see it's my house.
right,
That's it. Okay, cool.
I'm Jeff Danowski, been in real estate 3 years. Came in here to do it part-time because I retired from education. And, now I'm working harder than when I worked. And I love it. The only house I have is my own. I haven't gotten into real estate investment because I'm married.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's why should be here too.
Right?
Yes. So currently I don't have any investment properties, just because I'm broke.
Meeting today, so that's one thing. You own your house yet?
No, I'm currently married,
We need to get that started.
right?
Alright, so any investment start from your first home.
Yes.
So we gotta get that down first. So should I ask Rachel? I know everything.
Story.
Okay.
I have a story about investment.
Go.
I mean, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there, and I'm lucky enough that we did buy our starter house here in Columbus 8 years ago. And it just thankfully happens to be on the outskirts of New Albany and is in New Albany School District, which is a really sought after school district here. And both of my boys are now at that age where next year we're looking to buy a home with a little more land. And this house is a prime house for a rental. And so I will be getting into it next year, planning on keeping it and then purchasing our next house. So I'm here just to learn about how I could do that.
One step I
I know Tracy's been on me for like a last 3 years or something. How long have you been here? When are you starting? When are you doing it? I'm like, oh, I just gotta.
Sorry, I'm next to
No,
the
it's true, but I had a baby done it, 5 years ago. I'd be in a different spot right now. So I've been in real estate since 2011. It's something I've always wanted to. They've always learned and heard, invest in yourself. And if you're in real estate, you should be buying real estate. And so I'm really excited for it. My husband up so much because he thinks he's gonna be fixing everything. And so you hire people to do that in your network. And so, yeah, I'd love to have a portfolio to eventually when my kids, when I'm retired to do the same thing and be able to sell off or 31 exchange and get a house in Florida. And that'd be amazing. So,
Okay, well, I'm gonna be right.
I know.
What are you gonna do?
I
What's your name?
I'm brand new, I'm Courtney, I'm a brand new agent. I'm not completely new to real estate. I do own a commercial property currently.
Okay, what kind of commercial property you own?
It's currently like event space and it's office space in an industrial area.
Mixed use,
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so, but it's
What-
very large.
what area?
Flat Lake,
Okay, well, that should be good for
It's
that
great.
mixed use.
yeah,
Oh, that's
great.
great.
Yeah.
So what's your next goal? You gonna get more commercial?
I have a lot of like family history with residential, so I feel really comfortable with residential, so I think that would be kind of our goal. We bought a property just under a year ago in Johnstown, right before the
Of
announcement
course.
of Intel. So we're really close, so I think for us, it's not a forever home, but looking kind of like Rachel, that maybe that'll be a rental for us sometime in the near future, so I'd like a new house for us personally, but also investment property, but I'm definitely open to commercial, I love.
Okay, yeah, so you're gonna sign up with interview, right?
She's here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what we've been hearing so far is number one.
Tracy, you didn't fill it out yourself.
Yeah, Tracy.
Yeah. Alright, you know what? I just realized I missed you, my buddy. And then you just walk in, right? I'm sorry, I miss you too. So what's your name? You standing?
Melinda Salisbury.
Melinda, sorry, Melinda, I miss you. So
That's okay.
tell me your story, Melinda.
I have had rental properties in the past. I've kind of been in and out of it over the years. Right now, besides, a couple homes I own, I have some farmland. And, we're just thinking about, diving into doing some more and thought I'd come learn what you have to show us.
Okay. So what do you want to buy next? Are you trying to figure out right now?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay,
I'd like to do a rental, but my husband doesn't.
okay, it sounds like a lot of.
General contract.
Yeah, okay, well, let's see. Buddy, I know you and your story, but please tell us about yourself.
Oh, he's up. My name is Todd Sterling. My background's in the mortgage industry. And with real estate investing, actually, I have a love-hate relationship with it. So, when the market crashed last time, and I think it's headed for a correction right now, I got stuck in bad deals that I bought and saying correctly. So I know what it's like getting foreclosure notices and all that fun stuff that goes along with that. And so after I got out of that side and recovering from that, and by the way, that's what people don't talk about, right? Like, I'm the only person that even said that, even though there's probably someone else in here that has had that happen. And so, so I mean, but real estate investing, if you do it correctly, if you do it correctly, it's horrible. But when I hear people, I got into this to buy property, like, you still gotta get it, sell. A recent deal I just did, an example of like, how you can make some money pretty quickly in real estate. So has anyone been to the Hilltop? You know where that is on the west side? Great action over there. It was a 4-unit, I bought it for $126,000. Is that good? Is that bad? I thought it was pretty good. $2,100 a month gross is what it's paying right now. I fixed up one of the units, re-upped it a little bit. I listed it on Monday. It's in contract right now. I listed it for $275.
Awesome.
So, I mean, you can make money, but then I think kind of like what Nick said, like, I think it's a give and take with what the other real estate agents, like, the balance between like speed and convenience versus trying to maximize what someone wants for a property. And then ultimately, like, you just have to get okay with whatever that is. And so I'm okay with it because I know what foreclosure is like. If you need to be okay and get one of those, like, feel free to do it, but after you get one of those, it's okay to go make $80,000 on the bill. So that's my take.
You do a lot of hold or you do more flip right now?
So over the past few years, like, I've bought and sold a lot. Wholesale on occasion. Even though like some of my
rates are higher now. I think you're gonna get better properties right now, because there's more fear in the air, so. You know, I'm gonna challenge myself.
The next time when you call me, try to pitch a deal, I'm gonna say, why don't you hold it, right?
Well, I hold it. Yeah, I mean, if I need to sell a deal, I just call Tracy, then someone else will.
So, I talk to Todd a lot because he know a lot of off-market deal, wholesaler deals, and if you really wanna talk more about wholesaler work, he's actually have more to share, so that is that. Okay, I forgot to talk about myself, right? And it's not about myself right now, but maybe I should share a little story. I moved back, so first of all, I'm from Vietnam, right? I went to Texas for my MBA school, 2010. And to pay for the school, I have to go work at a nail salon, so I do have a license. And so after that, I met my husband, who's veteran. That's why we have a crying session today. Gosh. And then because he was a veteran, so he always away from the family for years, and we feel the need to really move back here. And now I'm stuck with Ohio. So when we moved back here, we saved up between both of us. And I didn't really care about lending and leverage. It's all about paid cash. I'm a fan of debt renting. Everything cash, no credit card, nothing. I had one credit card, and when I applied for the first loan, and then sit with you, and then like the lender told me, you don't have enough credit card, go open more credit card. I'm like, yes. Why you want me to be in debt? I'm a good buyer. Anyway, so I was just like cash, and I buy everything cash for maybe the first 3 years before I talked to him, and he's like, you got a leverage. I'm like, no, but I didn't. So no.
A little worse than.
But I want to share this little story for whoever that didn't get started. You need to feel confident that you can do it. So I moved back here, didn't have a job. My husband got GI Bill, went to OSU. We get some money from the GI Bill for the veteran, and of course, you know, I work at Bath and Body Works, and Meg, I don't remember now. And then we save up 80,000, and then I seriously drive the whole city to find out 80,000, and there's none, and it's all beat up. And then I got a license, and my friend like, why you gonna want to get a license? I'm like, buy my house. And they're like, why? I'm like, I don't know. I'm a type of person, if I want to do something, I want to really learn and do it really well. So I got the license, and then I went and look at the house really messed up. The ceiling fall down, like no flooring and no HVAC, like nothing. And everybody said, don't buy that house. And me and my husband like, what are we gonna do? We don't have enough money, and we don't want to get a loan. We just have 80,000. That's one of the 3 houses available on the market. That's it. My whole family really like freak out because it's like, so we move in. The inspector said, you probably have 3 leaks in the plumbing. My husband turned on. That's 8. So we just have to run and one just try to touch it, and then run to another one to try to touch it. And then we live in the living room. Then we finish one room, we move to the 1 bedroom, and keep moving to the next room. That's my first house. So I try to save every penny I make because we just started, we didn't really have money. And then I always remember this story. So we went to Costco, and I wanted to buy a pineapple. And first of all, I'm a deal fighter, right? I always go find deal. That's the cheapest I can find. And so I go to Costco and I pick up a pineapple, and then it's not on sale. So I already brought it out to the checkout, and then they said, oh, it's not on sale today. I'm like, I had it on sale yesterday, but it's not on sale. I remember myself go back and put the pineapple back to where it was, because I was in mode of saving money. And even it's just like $1 saving for me at that point is extremely important, because I write down every single penny that I spend, every single that I make. I don't really have a concept of the book back in the day, but that's how I do my booking. And then I know exactly what money I save. And in my head, I have to buy something else, not just only this. We expected my first baby and I saved up 50,000. So I sold a condo to my client and then I just chit chat with the seller and the seller just, show us and whatnot. And I'm like, so what do we do? And he's like, oh, I have 3, I'm selling you 1, but I still have 2 over there. I'm like, are you selling? And he's like, maybe. So that's how I make an offer off market because I just have a chit chat with the seller. I'm from everywhere, just ask, right? So my there's a 2 condo. One of them is Section 8. Never buy Section 8 again, which is for my comfort zone, but it's not a bad property and not a bad, product to buy. I still remember the Section 8 paid me X dollar and then the tenant paid me $75. And every single time the tenant don't pay me, I drive to the tenant house, knock on the door, pick up my $75. $75 is a lot of money. And then the tenant really, oh my God, she does some medical condition and she probably dropped one of her fingers like that. So that's they talk about like the ugly things in real estate that not everybody talk about, right? So you have to be there and willing to do whatever it takes. It's not pretty, guys. It's not. Like there's some property that we flips. I mean, I have to be there until 11 p.m. really clean the house and find whatever some kind of numbers high. I have to really put my work in to save money. So that's just the very first, and then after, so every year I have a goal to buy something, right? And then I don't know how many we own now, but we own a couple commercial, we own a couple residential, I guess. So I just closed a deal last week. We just bought Ohio Health Hospital in Reynoldsburg. So that's my latest purchase. But what I'm always trying to say is if I could do it, I moved here 2010, 12 years ago. I have to save money from not buying a pineapple. If I can do it, you all can do it. So there's about Tracy. So what are some of the ways to invest in real estate? And there's so many creative ways, right? Todd is always have some creative ideas. When he called me, I'm like, what are you talking about? But this is just one of the few. And so somebody already owned the house, Rachel, right? Owned the house and she's gonna move to a different property and rent out a current house. That's the best. Because when you get the first home, you get the owner occupied interest rate, which is lower. You can pay 0% down payment or 3% down payment, but investment loan, you have to do minimum
15 to 25.
Okay, and the credit score requires higher, the interest rate also higher, right? So in owner occupied loan is always the best. So you want to take advantage of that, live in that, and then move on. I actually have a client do that repeatedly. My God, they have a lot of energy. Every 2 years, they just keep moving. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Investment loan for rental. So he have a lot of loan product. I'm gonna have a section because you have all the players that we talk about it. He actually brought in the photo for you guys here to talk about all the investment loan, but I'm gonna let him talk about that. Plus, using traditional renovation loan or harmony loan. So I buy the 28 years old from that couple, right? And then I fix it up and then put it on the market and make profit. So for people that I didn't anybody say this, but I really expected that well, actually one who said that, yeah, Ryan, he said, I'm broke, I don't have money, right? So the very first step is you're gonna get the loan to buy your house, 0 down payment, right? And so getting that, and then when people keep telling me, well, we don't have enough money to invest in real estate, that's not true. It's always money out there, just really depend on the way you structure the deal. I mean, how about you get paid 3% commission? Use that as part of your down payment, right? And then BRRRR, you're talking about BRRRR. If buy, repair, refinance, rent refinance. And so, basically, so when you buy a move-in ready property on the market, you have to pay premium price, right? So if you want to put some work in, so you can get some equity out of it, then the rule of thumb is you have to buy it at 75 or 80% of the market value. And then you fix it up, you put a good tenant in place, and then you rent it out. So when you do go to the lender to do cash out, that's one thing that I don't love about that. You have to refinance after 6 months, right? So the new value is gonna go up. And so when the value go up, when you refinance out, the cash that you're gonna get out from the lender, it should be enough to cover your down payment from day one, the cost of repair. Basically, you buy the house for free because the loans already paid by itself and the tenant paid for it. Any question about this? No, okay.
Cash out?
Yeah, we do cash out, too. Yeah, I'll kind of talk about stuff.
Yeah, but one of my clients do cash out immediately and they have to use the value that you buy.
That's loan to contract, so when you buy a house, you first buy it before 6 months, that's would be your mortgage seasoning. And you wanted to refinance, they're gonna get, if you just bought something today, despite the great deal that you got, it's only worth what you just paid for it. Into 6 months, that's called mortgage seasoning, which is probably 90% of the programs out there. There are some loopholes to that stuff we'll talk about a little bit. That would be kind of loan to contract. If you're fixing it up after you buy it, I put money into it, it's gonna be worth X because I got a good deal. That's your ARV after repair value. For a couple of terms.
Yeah, so whatever you plan for the money, you plan to hold that for 6 months, because that's gonna help you after you refinance.
Then after 6 months, I can refinance there.
Correct.
You.
In reality, if you're doing repairs and rehabbing, that's not that long of a wait.
Right.
You know, by this contractors get stuff done, you might be waiting a month or so, but there's stuff in between and there's other products to avoid that. If you don't want to have that wait period, but we'll talk about that.
Syndication, I try this too, it's just because I love to try different ways and see what works. So we put money in an LLC with 5 of us, and then we use the money to invest in another project. I actually did 2, they all different out there. But one of the project is we use money in that LLC, invest in a commercial building that the owner need the cash, and they build the property, sold it, get the profit, and split the profit back to us. Another one that I'm still doing, and that guy actually need money all the time. So if anybody want like lazy money, just come in and don't have to have any head, I can connect you with a guy. So he do self storage. So every time he buy a new property, he call for cash. You can invest a minimum is 100,000 or 500,000, doesn't matter. Then he guaranteed to give you 8% rate of return per year. And then if he make money, he's gonna pay off whatever that need to pay off, and then he split the profit on top of the 8%. Does that make sense? So it's easy money. You put money in, you don't have to do anything. Well, you have to trust the guy. So I still have money with the guy, so I know he's doing okay. So if anybody wants to talk about it,
So the guy is an attorney or is he?
he's just an investor. He also a broker in Ohio, but then now he moved to Atlanta, I think. Partnership, you have a body and put money together and do things together. I never do this. I feel like it's so hard to really make 2 people agree on the exact same thing. Even like me and my husband, a lot of time we don't agree with each other, so I don't really do that. But if you have family and friends and you trust and you think you guys really think alike, maybe put money together. Tomorrow, commercial real estate is a totally different animal. So if anyone wants to check more about that, we can. So I I don't know about you guys, but I work with a lot of first time investors too, and sometimes they don't know what to do. They just want to make money. What's the guy name? We just flow in Westerville. Sean. He just come to me and he's like, oh, I want to make money in real estate. I will open the LLC. Let's do something. I'm like, okay, do what now? So let's sit down, my friend, and then tell me a little more about you and what you want to do. And then he always, every time I talk to an investor, I pull out the Excel spreadsheet and teach them how to use the number. He didn't really care at all. He just like, oh, I just want to make some money. You know, I want to have some extra income. Like, okay, but what you want to do? And so I just kept asking the question until he's like, okay, how about Hocking Hill property? Oh, we start somewhere. And then he's like, well, I like Hocking Hill property because I want to block out maybe a couple of weeks or years. So I can go there and relax and whatnot. And I still make, income. It makes sense. Okay, let's explore that. And so we run a lot of story and a lot of numbers, and of course the number doesn't make sense. So he's like, oh my God, now I hear you, the numbers suck. So whatever we can do. And I'm like, okay, what else you more comfortable? So we live in Westerville. He's like, okay, well, I know this area. Maybe we just, look for a rental in Westerville. So I'm like, okay, then what can you do? You're gonna buy a fixer upper, you're gonna buy the burn method, you're gonna buy a move-in ready. What are you? What can you do? What do you know? What people do you know if you don't know? So turn out he buy a move-in ready property, and he had the tenant move in immediately. He made $600 cash flow per time, something like that. With the high interest rate, that was amazing, and he's super happy right now. So a lot of people come to me just like, I don't know, I want to make money. Well, I guess everybody does, but tell me a little more. So what you gonna need to find out what's your comfort zone?
But $600 a month cash flow in a move-in ready house. How do I not find it? Like, you know what I'm saying? That seems like a really good deal.
So, number one, we found a house.
That's not common. It can't be.
It can't. Mohammed get it all the time, right? Well, Mohammed is genius. That's another thing. But so here's what happened with that one deal, right? We got the house, we saw the house when the market just shift immediately like that, when the seller just like, oh my God, what's going on? The seller have to move to another state. They actually already out, we just have some boxes in the house. I know the listing agent from another broker where we work together. So I call her and she, well, Kathy Cairo in our office always tell you in this business names matter, right? When you call them and they say, oh, yes, that's what we're gonna happen. So we have a conversation, and then we know the solid motivation, and we're like, hey, my guy want to buy, but this interest rate is not. Can we try it? And so she like, yeah, whatever I offer, you just bring over, and I'll try to see if it works for the seller. We have what, 10,000 closing costs or whatever, crazy number, and the buyer just like, did I have that closing cost? I'm like, that's not me, that's the market. So, it's just like when you sell real estate, relationship matter. How the
That was cash flow like 9%. There's a self-employed type borrower, so, there's deals out there.
just have to look. Did you look 100 deals a day? That's it.
You said how many a day? 100.
I'm just making.
Oh.
So you just have to really look really hard every day. So right now I'm not looking, but seriously, when I really in the mode of like buying something, I turn on my computer, sit down, look at everything before I even do anything else. Like I look at everything and then I see that's a deal. I go to my Excel table, run a number real quick. Well, run over here, call a listing agent right away and say, hey, Jason, can I go see it immediately? And then Jason say, yeah, go and make an offer within like 2 hours or something. That's really what you have to do. It's not easy work, right? But there's a system, right? So yes.
Can you share your spreadsheet with us?
Absolutely, that's a big part today. So first of all, you need to know your comfort zone, right? You need to know what you know. You need to know what you don't know. You need to know what people that know you don't know. and then put a team together. That's the most important thing. And if you don't really know what you want to invest in anything right now, maybe to come look at deals and see if you like it, and you say, oh, that's not something I'm gonna do. So the more you look, the more you build that comfort zone, right? And the more you run numbers, the more you build a comfort zone too. So, yes,
Pass that, I don't know if that sign-in sheet on the table in front of you was passed around. But if you pass it around, it makes, make sure you put your email legibly. We'll make sure you guys get everything that you need.
here you go, yes. Right, so, okay, so I'm gonna talk about a couple of things here only, and if any more evaluation needed, and you wanna sit down with me, I can sit down in my office next to Rachel. I'm here until December 17th, so I'm ready to chat until then. So go back to that chart again. So he said, oh, Tracy, that house look good. I'm like, does it matter? Because you're not gonna live there. So it looks good, it doesn't matter. Does it make money? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, yes, you do need to know. How do we need to know? First of all, you have to do the sales comps. Everybody know how to do sales comp, right? Then you have to do the rental comps. Do you know how to do rental comps?
Rental comps.
Okay. So rental comps on MLS, you have the rental in there that you can run the rental comps, but actually it's not a lot of rental on MLS actually. So I use different tools. This is just one of them, right? So everybody should have a free Zillow account. Yes, who don't have one?
Free Zillow.
Zillow. Yeah, free account. You don't need a fancy like whatever they call premium, whatever. And then when you go in there with the free account, you should see what you see right now. Price my rental. So this is my first house. But I have the tenant in there. I didn't sign it yet. Oh, that's the tricky part. I don't know my password. I haven't signed it. So anyway, so if you go in there, put in the address, it's gonna show you like this. Okay? It just like comes in MLS. You never really look at the estimated value from Zillow, right? You have to see apple to apple, what's the nearby property, rent for, and you compare with your condition and your what you can offer, and then you come up with a rental comps. You combine this with your rental comps on MLS, then you have an idea. A lot of times it comes with experience too. So one of the guys that we work with James, that he always have a lot of cash flow, and he always asks more than anything Zillow tell him to do. And he have a little trick, like he always try to make it a little fancy. He put another countertop in for 2,800. He always wants to buy property that is already have some, have good floor is something nice about it. So when he put in money, he doesn't really put a lot of passion. And then he always asks for premium. Got it. Well, the market changed a little bit here, I don't know, but if less people buy a house, maybe more people will rent anyway. So as you have to combine your knowledge as a realtor too, and so you can adjust the number, right? So you don't want to ask too much, and people say you're crazy, and then if you ask too low, you put money on the table, so when you sell the house. So I use MLS rental comps and Zillow comps. That's what I use. But there's these rent all meter. I don't use that, but I also look at that just to see what number is going there. Mortgage calculator. So on Rachel,
yeah,
on KW map, do they have a mortgage calculator feature on there? Sorry, I don't use it. But if it's
on their individual websites.
yeah, on each of the property.
So.
If not, on Zillow, they have a calculator for you, so you can just change the interest rate and whatnot and spit out the monthly payment for you. Or you just call James, that's what I do, because I don't want to be responsible for that monthly payment, and then when it come back and the investor says, no, I didn't pay for anything.
on your mobile app, if you look at a property on your mobile app, then there is a mortgage calculator there. It should be on your website also.
Perfect,
That's for listed property.
perfect. So, first of all, before I even talk about the spreadsheet, because Mickey's here, so I have a question to say this. Jacob, you have this book. Anybody seen this book before? Yes, yes, yes. So you read it, whatever the information in here that's valuable, whatever I'm here, just really, just icing. And so you wanna read more of it, it's all in this book. This is what I use. For me, I believe real estate interest. It doesn't have to be rocket science. So. You see it okay? Or is it too small? I'll make it bigger. Rachel, you know how to make this bigger?
Yeah. So kellerinc.com is where you can get any and all of our real estate books, including the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book.
You would make it bigger. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Okay, thank you.
There's 3 dots.
Got it. Okay, so we already had the rental comes, right? You should know your property tax and insurance, right? If you don't have a good insurance agency, that's also an app you need to build for your team, right? Principal and interest, I'm lazy, I call James. Property management, this should be somebody that you have in your pocket too. If you want to manage the property yourself, absolutely, you can have a license. Please make sure you know the law, right? That is I have it on my website. And I can email to you if you want, but there's a handbook for you to know what you need to know to become a landlord, and make sure you follow the law, right? Like fair housing and whatnot. But if you need a property manager too, because you're not so confident, I can give you some names too. Management reserve, put some money there, so if the water tanks go broke, you have money rather than just make negative money. The big doesn't like that. So here's a key part that I'm trying to get at. 474. Good, that? Who said good? Who said that?
Cash flow?
Yeah.
How much did you find it?
This one for 320. So you want to talk about cash on cash? Is that what you're trying to get at? Yes, that's one thing we can look into. There's so many ways to evaluate a property. But here's what I'm trying to get at. It's never have a solid answer. It's a yes for you and it's a no for me, or it's a yes for me. And never the same. Again, go back to your comfort zone. Make one appreciation. You want cash flow. I want both. I never want to do in Hilltop, but my area is like so in real estate you have ABC, right? So A neighborhood, Dublin, Lewis Center, Upper Arlington, no cash flow, not interested. Hilltop, a lot of cash flow. I can't deal with that tenant. I mean, I used to deal with my section 8 with somebody that dropped a finger in my property. I think that's enough. So I don't want the C, I want to stick with the B, right? Little cash flow, little appreciation, that's my comfort zone. What is your comfort zone? You have to decide what is that, right? And then for me, 474, and then it's a B in long run, I get some appreciation. 474, I make what? 7,000 a year. If I have a water tank or HVAC just broke, I think I'm okay. I'm not gonna have to go back and borrow some money somewhere just to take it out, whatever happened to my product. For me, it's okay. For you, is it a bad deal? We need to talk. So you have to really create that comfort zone for yourself. You're gonna really create that criteria for yourself. You're gonna say $300 and up, I'm in. $500 and up, I'm in. I want to be in B neighborhood. I want to be in my A neighborhood. That's no right or wrong here. It's your criteria. But guess what? You gotta stick with it. The moment that you swing around it, then you're gonna make some mistake. Why? because you know what you know best. If you really spend like 2 hours a day in the morning, lead gen, you gotta hear the voice that I said out today on the phone. It's all about lead gen, right? If you really spend this 2 hours a day to lead gen for your investment, you're gonna look at a ton of you, right? Now, if you let's just say you look at deals in Westerville, look at it every day, 2 hours a day, 30 days. Guess what? You're an expert. Now every deal pop up, you're gonna say, that's a good deal, you gotta jump on it. Now you like try to wing it and go to hilltop. You don't know enough. Now you need to spend more time to learn the market and make sure it's good, bad, whatnot, right? The type of tenant, you want to deal with that type of tenant. Section 8 is not bad at all. Money, just keep coming in the first of the month. I love it. I don't want a finger in my house. I'm done. But it's not bad. I have a guy, I call him like Section 8 king. He owns about maybe 10 right now, all Section 8, not interested doing anything else. That's his business model. There's nothing wrong about it. You have a model. Remember, he knows how to deal with Section 8 people. He knows what phone number of the local cop that he can call. He knows if the tenant try to act up, what's he gonna do? He knows how to show up and make the tenant say, all right, it's a rent. Because some they have to pay extra rent. And so gotta know your comfort.
Tracy, so what are the numbers on this deal? I can't see.
Sorry, tax flow is 474 on a 320 property.
Almost a 9% cash on.
Yes,
So
but
you have.
So you can put it on your.
for me, it is in the area that I like to buy. I have that comfort zone. And I think I have enough to cover anything that might happen to the property. That's again, my criteria. What is your criteria? You gotta come up with that, right?
It's important to note that in the last 18 months, the city of Columbus passed a law that you're not allowed to discriminate against source of funds. So you can't no longer in the city of Columbus say no Section 8. You're not allowed to do that.
You cannot say it. But if you want to have a Section 8 approved property, you gotta apply for it. You gotta take the class. I went to the class. You gotta get inspected by the city. So if the landlord don't really go through that process, it's not gonna work anyway. So I'm lazy. I just cannot go through the process, right? So it's a very good note on the legal note. You cannot just say, I don't accept Section 8 tenant. That's not something you can say. Absolutely. So I think I have to twist my language a little bit.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying that because it is new. That's not, I mean, you used to up till about 18 months ago say no Section 8.
There's some area that's actually not subject to that law. So Westerville is actually not on the list. But we don't want to,
That's why I said city of Columbus is the one. that
Yeah.
passed it.
so we are realtor, we don't want to get into any muddy situations. We better, well, when I put on the app, when I find a tenant, I always say property is not approved for Section 8. That's all I say. So be careful what language you use. That's very good note. My whole exercise here is to say, no, but it doesn't matter what number show up here. You still have to decide what is considered good. So when you say number doesn't make sense, I ask it, what makes sense? Define makes sense. For example, I just sold one to an investor. He bought it, and every month he cash flow. Listen to this, 100. I'm like, ooh, don't buy it. He's like, no, I do buy it. I'm like, why? He's like 3 minutes from my house. I bought this house, and now I look back how much appreciation I got just after a couple of years. And I'm here, I'm so familiar with the area. I know it's gonna grow. I know this is a good investment. He bought it. This has money, no my decision. That's probably go back to the time that like on mix side is more appreciation, but everybody different, right? So that is that. Any question about this for now? So let's calculator. Okay, so why
You want to talk about like the 1% rule or anything like that?
it doesn't, it's not, it doesn't exist anymore in
It's
Florida.
quite a look at the deal.
Yeah, so 1% rule is if you buy the deal for 320, you should get 3,200 years in rent.
A month.
a month. It doesn't exist. And back in the day it did, but not anymore. So I used to do that when I first bought my first rental. But after that, I just couldn't really find anything, so I dropped it. But yeah, maybe it'll come back, I don't know. Because-
$1 per square foot and up is. $1 per square foot. And up is a little bit of
$1 per square feet for the rental rate, you're talking about? I don't use that, again. What if you think that's good, but I don't think so.
So that's what they have listed, that they put the percentage of based on the price of the square foot.
Okay, dollar per square feet,
Dollar, mostly now it's about $1.
okay, okay. Again, is it a good, bad
What she's saying, Tracy, I didn't hear her.
$1 per square foot, I think.
for the rental?
Oh,
Yeah.
so if it's 1,600 square feet, you should be getting $1,600. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not getting that Linden. Right. And you're
Right.
not getting that Linden, you're not getting that.
That's
Hey, so
It's not meant to be, this is what's it's meant to be that. 70 cents, even lower. So it depends on the area. I mean, that's MLS, that's how we have certain number of.
I never use it personally. I just don't think like exactly like makes sense. Is it in Linden? Is it in nothing?
Right.
We can't compare apples to oranges, right? So, it's really a relative term. It's not meant to say, if you meet this number, this is it, this is goal. There's nothing like that at all. Right? So. Let's go next slide to flip. I feel like Tom probably should come here and help about that, but. So why do we do that? No. Why do we do that at all?
Crazy does.
So, I do flip when I need some cash to buy next rent, so that's my goal, right? And so, I have a little chat with Mick, I'm like, why people don't really get into rental, business? It's just so great. And he said, well, a lot of people that he knows that they buy it and then they say, see the profit, they just can't keep it and just sell it. So here's my principle, and it might work for you, it might be different, it's just my story. Whatever I flip, I don't hope. Whatever I hope, I don't flip. So if I buy a property and if I think that's a great potential that for my long-term hold, I do the burn, keep it, put a tenant in it, and then do the burn method. And there's some property that I'm like, I don't want to deal with a tenant here, or I don't know about the street, I don't know. Then I sell it. But if you get into flip, maybe I want to say something, make sure you do the right thing. You have to disclose you're a realtor, and then be a good flipper, right? Do a good job. Because you're not selling a house as a realtor, but you also sell a house as a, with the flipper and the realtor. So you don't want people to really think, oh, we just sell a sloppy job. So do a good job and disclose. I got a seller, I'm gonna make money from your company. So,
well, and there's also for tax reasons, I'm not a tax accountant, but if you buy and flip, renovate and flip within the first year, you're paying ordinary income tax.
yes, about for the tax rate, so it's about 15 to 20%. Yeah, tax, yeah. So if you make 50,000 on the flip, then you pay 20% of 50,000 is like what, 10,000, so you make 40,000.
Income tax.
Yeah, if, look. There's many people probably in the room that are in a tax bracket above the 20%, so it could be whatever tax bracket you're. Or what that might put you into that you've never been into before to make a big lick on that.
But then
If you
you're,
own it for a year, no days, just 1 year, it becomes a capital gain. instead of ordinary income. Capital gain rate is 15%, so capital gains recapture is 25.
What if you buy it through an LLC?
Doesn't matter, LLC can flow through, so your personal taxes will be whatever that LLC.
So here's my CPA saying, Tracy, make money either way, stop it.
No, it's just, it's a mentality, it's,
Yes.
it's not, you know, because I see a lot of that, you need to think of that when you're doing your numbers on a flip right here, right?
But
You don't want
if,
to do a flip for 10 grand,
right,
right?
So do people here, you guys want to flip or you want to rent or what do you guys?
as the, some of them they trying to figure out,
What's that?
some of them they trying to figure out.
What do you want to do now? We start sliding. You took your class, what do you guys ready to do? Maybe we can start.
Yeah, I think I would like to have.
You have
No, I was just gonna comment that I love.
But
Oh, that's, I didn't sell high, but.
Okay,
You're a non. You say it's right. Perfect. What a great way for students going to college, running up for a grad.
so we're gonna go through the flip real quick, just because just in case you have to combine the flip with your rental for the verb, you know how you actually should run the money under the table. Again, if you want really my sophisticated formula is from here. That's my table.
That's the kit that you keep holding up,
What?
that you keep holding up, that is a kit versus just a book, that box.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
Where did you get that?
Nick?
Oh, where could one get that?
I got another chicken out here. I
Really?
bought that 15 plus years ago.
Huh.
Gary Keller wrote The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the Red Book, as a way to build a real
Sell
estate
business.
business, a for sale business. He wrote the Blue Book with the same two co-authors as a way to build wealth,
Right.
right? And back in the days of DVDs and
Okay.
cassettes and all that,
Okay.
in its PowerPoint presentation, it's to do investor clinics for your clients and that kind of
Like,
thing. It is an amazing book. It is so simple, right? He talks about real estate investing in a very simple way. I highly recommend you buy it and read it. It inspired me almost 20 years ago to get back into investing. Plus having a couple of children. did that too.
that buy sell, that old school buy sell,
So,
it's that old school buy sell website, can't think of it, rebid,
Oh, that's the sell business, that's the,
no, rebid on things. Probably where you can find it, but eBay, you can find anything on eBay. Sorry.
that's okay.
Carry on.
Todd, you read it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the best real estate book I've ever read.
So I'm not here to really encourage people to do that, because high risky business and you really know the in and out, every single detail in and out of the deal, and you have to have a contractor, you need to have background in construction. I have a husband, so I make him do my construction background. But this is also good that if you have to buy a house that you're gonna put a tenant in it and the house is a piece of crap, you have to really renovate it. You also need to know how to run the numbers to make sure that you buy low, right? So you can sell high later. So I simply to put every potential expenses that I might spend on the deal and just have a calculation in the Excel sheet. It's nothing fancy. I don't believe it have to be fancy. That's my philosophy. And so the table I created, it works for me. But I'm really detailed to the point that if I buy any kind of mineral items, I really put it down. Make sure I know exactly how much I put in the deal. And so you need this to go back and do the pro method and see, is it a good deal? So we're gonna go pretty fast on that.
The
So
method is buy, repair, renovate, refinance.
buy, repair, rent, refinance.
Rent, yeah, okay, sorry. Repeat.
Repeat too, yeah.
Rinse and repeat.
And so everybody knows how to do cell comms here, so I don't really need to talk about it. Commercial, we can talk about a day. So again, I talk about that $400. That's again, as your own criteria, this have to be your comfort zone, you have to really think about it. But there's another thing about psychology too. So I don't know if I didn't ask Martha consent to tell her story, but they probably fine. But Martha is my best friend. Martha is my best friend, and we always like go hang out. We even went to Vietnam together. We went to Africa together. We do everything together, and I always just next to her, so I do exactly what I did with Rachel. But you did that's not it. And so she just like, yeah, you know, we're gonna do something. Of course, she didn't do anything, and so it's just a psychology. It's just like, I don't know, I'm just nervous, right? I put money in and I'm just nervous. And I'm like, okay, well, let's calm down to why you nervous. And so the very first deal that she did, I found our market deal as a wholesaler deals. They sell it as a packet, 2 condos. And I run the Cellcom, I run the renovation budget. And then I put all in the sheet of paper and I sent it to her and I said, look, I'm gonna buy one. I'm gonna give you half an hour to tell me if you're gonna buy it or else I'm gonna buy 2. Your call. So half an hour later, she called back and said, fine, I'll buy it. And so we sold it, we make some money together. The second deal, I saw the deal, she saw the deal, and I'm like, did you run number? And then she's like, yeah. And I'm like, does it work? And then she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, we'll make an offer. So she made an offer. That afternoon, I met her and I'm like, so you in contract? She's like, no, I back out the deal. I'm like, why? And she's like, I don't know. This is a psychology thing. You just feel like, should I be committed to this thing, right? It's just no reason at all. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm not an expert in Excel sheet. I'm not the book writer, none of that. I'm telling you, please do yourself a favor, just do it. And so she just like, well, if I put in the money here, I'm gonna run out of cash. I'm like, are you selling real estate? Are you gonna make money? Are you gonna go hungry? You're gonna have food?
Is she buying old cars?
Yeah, it's not that. So she bought that, yeah. And so she like, no, I have stuff in the pipeline, I'm gonna make money. I'm like, so what's the problem? They're like, no. And I'm like, okay, how about this? If you run out of cash, I'll let you borrow money. And I know she never need that, but I just have to say that just so she jumps ship. And then she like, I don't know, let me think about it. I'm like, no, you're not thinking about it. You pull out your phone and you text the guy right now and say, just kidding. I said no, but now you say yes. We'll be in contract. And that's exactly what she did. And then she closed the deal tomorrow.
Not like your best friend.
Oh, yeah. That's it. That's how I do it. And so I just want to tell you that it's normal to have that feeling like, I don't know. And then you just back out.
Gary has a nice section in the book about it, and that exact thing. And there's a line that I'll never forget. He said, success and money live right on the other side of fear. And he said, if a real estate investment is structured correctly, there's no risk at all.
It's the risk that you can calculate. It's calculated.
Yes, and you know, like I bought several properties in 05, 6, and 7, and we all know what happened after that, right? On paper, I lost a lot of money on my balance sheet, but never, you know, if you ride it out long enough, I think is quoted there is real estate can be like a roller coaster, but you only get hurt when you jump off. You know, if you hold it through those downturns, it's going to come back. And what you haven't really talked about much, that $320,000 example that you had there created about $5,000 cash flow per year. But we didn't talk about mortgage reduction, and we didn't talk about
the tax advantage.
I'm sorry.
The tax advantage.
The tax advantage and the approximate $12,000 in appreciation that year as well. So it's the combination of all these things that can move your balance sheet in an amazing direction. And you don't think, I mean, you think 10 years is a long time. 2012 was 10 years ago. It seems like yesterday, right? So that's having the whole mentality, you have to get there. But once you're there and start accumulating some of this, it's in that 15th to 20th year that you really see things escalate.
Yes, thank you for saying all of that, because it's hard to really make that first jump, but when you pass that, you're gonna just keep doing it. Now you can't stop, can't stop, won't stop. Let's see what else. Here's just some resources that I can share the link with you guys. I'm not on Facebook right now from this computer, so I don't know if you can get in there. But some
She email us that.
I'll
No.
email everyone everything.
That way we can just click.
Yeah,
yes. So the second one I want to talk about, this is really a great investment group in Central Ohio. They have nationwide, they have Cincinnati location too and whatnot. They do have a year-end event coming up, and it's all kind of investment you can think of. Rental home, commercial, flipper, mortgage, note. I don't even know what they do with note. I'm like, no, what are you doing? All kind of investment you can think of. So go to that year-end meeting on the website, get to know what people do out there, mingle with people. But I got a listing out of it, so I don't know. That's why I talk about it. But talk to people, build that confidence, build that comfort zone, get out of that fear. And then if you've seen that there are hundreds of people, you are amazed how many people in that event, and you're like, be fine. Well, you have to be careful when you run numbers, right? But mingle with those people so you can build more confidence. You guys know Bigger Pockets? So it's a free knowledge pool in there. There's a ton of investment in there. You can come in and ask a question, 3,000 people gonna answer, share their experience. They have some basic knowledge about like investment 101 per se. The very first group, when you pay the yearly membership, they do have the investment 101 in there too. The one, I believe this one is more of a landlord group. If you want to hold a property, you better be a good landlord, right? Learn all the good and bad, the ugly, and go in there, read people's story. And number one, don't make a mistake that they made. Number two, feel like every time I go in there, I learn a thing or two from people, and again, build that comfort zone, so you don't really feel like, oh my God, this is something I cannot do. YouTube, I wish, well, YouTube we can get, right? I love this guy. I have to show you, Tracy. Huh?
Rachel's coming to the rescue.
Let me see, maybe I can do it. So I have to say a little bit about this guy. I never met him, but I'm a big fan. So he's a boat people from Vietnam. You know what boat people, right? He come here, didn't have any money, and then he just door knocked $100 a day, and he built a sellable real estate business. And then when he got enough, he get into investment, and he have a ton of videos. It's just like 2-minute video. Some of you already know me. I'm just really, I don't have time for half an hour. So straight to the point. He's gonna talk about the very relevant topic. Interest rates up now. What we're gonna do? One video. Boom, mega. One video, 2 minutes. So I strongly recommend that you check all the video and it just don't waste a lot of time. You'll have like really give you a very good concept. One thing I admire about him too, is he actually have a lot of he built home for homeless people in Seattle. So people live in Seattle know him. He's a big deal there. So I love him.
You have Facebook up there.
I do,
You've had it.
but I don't think I saw it. That's a problem.
It's up there already. See it?
Okay, that's a landlord group that I talked about. So you see 43,000 people in there. If you have any questions, type in your question to enter. Somebody's gonna answer you. Well, then I have no idea what this group is about.
One other thing, and again, I'm not a tax accountant, but if you're in real estate full-time, the IRS will put you in a different category as an active investor.
Yes,
And an active investor, a passive investor, is maxed at a $2,000 per year loss on a property. And you might not lose money, but the depreciation could take you there. If you spent 700 hours or more a year, I think it's 7, isn't it? 7 or 8.
I don't remember the numbers.
Then you're considered an active investor. And if depreciation takes you to $5,000 or $6,000, then you can write that whole thing home.
I really rely on my CPA to remember those numbers for me. But okay, I remember why I have this group up, because I shared with you the pineapple story, right? So I went and talked to some group before and they give like, oh, this is big lie. That's not true. Well, maybe the very first thing is save money, sell more real estate. Lead gen with data, get more business, right? Close more deal, creative structure to make the deal happen, and then save money. I love this group because it's not only just to save money, but it's have so many discussion about financing. So I think you can check it out. And that's about it. So I did say this a couple of times already, right? And you have to make sure you're in the right environment, right? And you learn a thing or two from the mentors, from people that are ahead of you. And if you're not sure about the numbers, just sit down and look at the numbers together. Maybe you missed something and we look together, you find out, and then you confident to move forward. But if you just like my friend Martha back in the day and just like, I don't know, never happened. So she's doing it. She's doing it, right? So I guess what's your roadblock right now? And from all the story that we heard from you guys, I think a little bit of, I'm not sure, I don't know what to do, I send more money, I'm trying to figure out and all of that. I think out of this, to get together today, I would love for you guys to really sit back and think about what you want out of this for your passive income. Like if you want to make 100,000 passive income, be honest, it's not crazy number. It's totally doable. Would you agree? You need to work backward. How does it look? How many property you have to buy so that you can have the 100,000 passive income? How the mortgage look like? How the cash flow look like? What exactly property I'm gonna buy? What area I'm gonna buy? What kind of property I'm gonna buy? Who do I know? Who I don't know? What do I know? What I don't know? And then if you, some of you already went to the business planning session last week in the office, same thing. Have a business plan for this side business and have all the numbers written down. And I remember Jill Campbell still to do the vision board. I love that because I remember I put it on vision board exactly what's the number of passive income that I want to achieve for my personal investment. And
some people think vision boards are cheesy, but I think they really work. I feel like if you're putting down on this board that in a spot that you're seeing every day, it's just a reminder of what your goals are, what your passion is. And so many people, I've heard so many success stories over cheesy vision boards that then you get your family involved in it too, and everyone sees it. And if you have people in your family asking you, hey, you reached your goal for, the vision board that we made together, where are you at? And you have other people encouraging you, it becomes something pretty significant versus cheesy, if you will.
so I'm the money guy talk about money because some of you said, I don't have money. I don't believe it. Money's here.
All right, so we're gonna talk about investing. I am Liberty Capital Services and my associate Bryce back in the back here. We are in Worthington, Ohio. We are a wholesale mortgage broker, which means we have over 30, 40 different lenders. So not only can I do investment, I can help you agents if you're first time home buyer and things like that. commercial, we pretty much do it all. And if we don't do it, I probably know who does it or it can't be done. So I'm a good resource to tap into. My associates are generally ready. So we'll talk about some of these programs. So you guys are all coming from different backgrounds. From, hey, I've got a little experience, I've got almost half an empire, or I haven't bought my first house. So we'll start from the top. Because some of you guys are most agents, almost all agents, or
Yes.
so you're all agents, so you're gonna pass this on to your clients. To me, the way to get started is buying a house. And whether that's buying a house for your kids, or whether it's buying a house for you as your primary, we got a veteran here, son wants to, or daughter wants to potentially buy a house. So those are great, but so use your first time home buyer, if you want to become, or your clients for that matter, want to become investors, use those first time home buyer programs. So what are they? You've got DPA, you've got down payment assistance on, say, a FHA or a conventional home possible home ready. You can do as little as 3.5% to 5% down on 2 to 4 units, right? So that's always my go-to. If you can get multi-unit, now agents, I know you love FHA and multi-unit and you don't want to take that offer, but now is the time to strike on that, because guess what? For the last 2 years, FHA probably getting the shun, going with the conventional offer. Well, now the market shifted a little bit. You can get some of those offers done. Now, can it be a dilapidated rehab type property to do an FHA? No, we know it has to meet certain standards. And Jason and I have done deals where we've made things happen. You can get some of these properties where you think, oh, there's no way to get an FHA. Don't buy into there. There is a way, and you can make it work with the lender if you work together on it. Everybody's got to give and take. Seller might have to do some things, buyer might have to do the thing, but there's a way to get these deals done. So using your primary VA, 100% no money down, everything, you can't have 2 VA loans or this, you can go VA hop. And your veterans can acquire multiple properties using VA financing with no money down. They're going to start that empire. So I like the multi-unit first, because then you can go single family, because you can get that multi-unit on that low money down, right? Then I'm gonna go out of my multi, which is generally, that's logical, right? I lived in a 2 to 4 unit, the neighbors got loud. Now I'm gonna use a primary again and 3 to 5% down, right? Now I got my single family, and then I can bounce around. From there, I can start building that empire. I've got some cash flow multi-units. I've got a single family that's cash flowing as well. And I can start, then potentially refinance. Now, all this stuff takes time. So, I would say that if I have my takeaway too is don't watch too much TikTok and YouTube, because they make it look kind of easy. There's nothing in life that's worth anything easy and free. We all know that. So if that's what you're looking for, it's probably not out there. There's nightmares that we've heard from Todd Sterling. There's other, we've had, the downs and ups and downs of real estate. It's not for the faint heart, but if you stick to that plan, like Tracy was saying, to me, from the lending side, I don't necessarily have to cash flow that much. I'm a holder. I'm on the hold business, because to me, if you're doing real estate and then you want to hold it, to me, that makes the most sense versus a flipper. But I do like the idea of flipping to then be a holder. That's what makes the most sense to me. But there's always great flips too, and we have the products for all that. So, when you're looking to, hold those properties, these are your pension plans down the road. And then really, if you get with the right CPA, there's no capital gains when you've lived in the house for a year. So that's a trick.
2 of the last 5.
2 of the last 5.
Yeah, 2 of the
So
last 5.
there's ways to, with your CPA, and these things change all the time. So you've got to constantly, when you're acquiring property and selling specifically and using the 1031, and maybe you're, selling, you gotta talk to the right people that on the tax side. I'm the money guy, so I'm going to help you acquire the property with finance. So I do love the first time home buyer programs. We have all those, but I want to touch on some of the other investment products. So we got fix and flip type loans. That's on that vein of, hey, we want to do a fix and flip. I want to buy this property. I'm getting a good deal. It's a total dump. I don't want to sink a ton of cash into it. And I'd rather use the lender's cash, right? Now, these rates aren't fantastic, you know, you got hard money, but what it's designed to do is get you in and out of that property with less than, 20 and 30% down when it's all said and done. So what does it do? You're basically paying about 20% down loan to contract. We brought that up earlier, right? But you can get 90 to 100% of the refi budget. So how that works is, say I'm buying the house for 100,000, we'll use round numbers. That's my 20K down payment. I'm gonna put 100K into it, right? Or maybe it's 50, but we're just gonna use round numbers here. And now I put 200, and let's say that house is gonna be worth 275, 280, but it's all said and done, right? We can get up to 75% ARV, which is after repair value. And or 80, basically 80% of cost of that rehab. So essentially, when you put the numbers together, right, and you can generally, what I say is put the contingency in your rehab budget. You don't go bare bones, you make it more. That's where that loan to cost comes in. And what happens is when you do the numbers, it's kind of backs into roughly 85 to 90% LTV. When it's all said and done. So if I didn't necessarily come out with 20% on the total number, it equated to essentially about 10% down in that situation, right? So that was about what? Financing, everybody knows cash is king, but cash is king for a reason because no one else has it. So we're here for capital preservation. So when you use financing, that's what you're doing. You're preserving your capital for when you really need it. Use the other people's money to make money when you got it. And when you do these spreadsheets and things like that, you got to factor all these things that they've mentioned, whether it's your capital gains or whether it's 10% here. You want to factor those things in. But it's kind of like if you're doing stocks, right? And you're doing stocks and you're trading, you could be a day trader yourself, but you don't spend enough time on it. So it's kind of like my grandfather told me, yeah, if you use a stockbroker and he's really good, yeah, you pay him commissions, but at the end of the day, you made a lot of money. So that's why you paid him. And you made, in the end game, you still accomplished the goal, right? That's really what you're after. Did people make some money along the way? Lender, agent, whatever it is, yeah, they did, but you did in the end too. And that's what you got to focus on. Don't be too centered on, oh, well, that's coming off the top and that's coming off the top and that's coming off. It's all about making money, and money today, making money tomorrow too, putting that money to good use. So the fix and flips, they come with interest only, and you can get those interest only basically on a 1-year term. So even though those rates are generally higher than market and Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, it's interest only. So the payment is palatable while you're flipping that house. And then you can decide whether, hey, I'm gonna flip it first year, I'm gonna do it second year, and then you can come back and then refinance that house after 6 months into essentially something maybe you want to hold. So you use a fix and flip to essentially refinance it, and you don't have to necessarily flip it, but you can use that same type of program to then buy a house, potentially flip it, rehab it, and make the next step. When you're dealing with a lot of investors, okay, say your clients are investors, or you're an agent and you have 1099 income and you write off a bunch of expenses. This could be any of your self-employed type borrowers. There's a whole sect that wants to invest in real estate that is not your W-2 wager, right? If you're not a W-2 wager, you don't show a lot of income in your tax returns, how would your debt ratio for then another level? Well, this is called investor cash flow. It's called debt service coverage, kind of how they underwrite commercial. So what they do is take a ratio of the rents, okay? They're going to say, okay, we're looking for a 1-to-1 ratio. It's really the sweet spot, and anything better kind of sweetens the pot a little bit. But my rent is, our total mortgage payment is $1,000. They're looking for $1,000 in rent. Well, how do they determine that? Leases and then appraisal. The appraiser goes out and he does a market rent analysis. Okay, and that's where it can get tricky, because you want your agents to be able to find some comps on rent, especially if they're under rented. A lazy appraiser may go, well, they're renting it now for $800, right? Sometimes it's hard to get the value of it. It's easier to get the rents up. No, actually, here's the lease there for $1,500, $1,500. Oh, I don't have to raise the value? Okay, yeah, rents are that. I didn't even do my research.
Did you hear what he said? No personal income used to qualify. That's a big deal. We 1099 people, well, you made one good year, one bad year, average out, not good deal, and they just disqualify you. So you can use this product. So again, that was saying we don't have money, right?
Yeah, in real estate, yeah, you get two transactions, you got two big chunks, you can buy your first property. So, with an investor cash flow, or your clients, maybe they're self-employed, they own their own business. Yeah, I've been turned down, but I want to invest. That is the product that you need, which is called debt service coverage, investor cash flow. Generally, you can get that on a multi-unit. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, generally, you can put, if you're not a first-time home buyer, don't fall into one of these programs, 25% down, right? So for an investor that has, say they have, you can't also, banks generally, if you get 4 properties on the REO, most places, like myself, will let you have 10. But what if you're over 10? This program is unlimited REO. It is an investor product. So it's designed for an investor. So you get unlimited on the REO, don't have to show money on your personal tax return. Essentially what they're looking for is good cash flow on the rental, at least 1-to-1 ratio, assets. You can do multi-units as well. We also do 6 to 20 units. So multifamily commercial right now is starting to blow up on these, 5 to 8 unit properties, multis, that really cash flow more. You get more units in there, you're generally going to get a little more cash flow. So those are good, and they treat them almost like res. So everybody knows that 1 to 4 units is your res, over 4 is your commercial. Well, when you go into commercial, the reason is some of those deals get hard because it's small commercial, and a lot of lenders don't like to play in small commercials, like doing small 20 grand houses on reps. They don't like to be in the small commercial game. It's just not what they're built for. They want $1 million properties. But there are, 5 to 20 unit properties in Columbus that are reasonably priced, that cash flow well, that you can use these programs. You can slap it on a 40-year term with a 10-year IO. And why would you do that? Because you're going to ride the wave until you're going to refinance, because you're dating the rate and you're going to come back and refinance that property down the road. When maybe your income situation is a little different. Maybe you sold some property, now you're under the limit. So there's the right product for the different types of investors.
You have to show like so much. Like where it says, it's based on the property tax, but show, like 2 years.
If you slip it to the listing agent, because basically rents, if he brings it in low, then you have a debt ratio problem. But, I use things like rent-o-meter and things like that to get a good feel for what those rents are. And I probably only had a few in the last 4 years. Obviously, when rates go up, it's harder, it makes the payment higher, so then but rents are also going up. So, it's a great product for the.
Say something, that's a very good question. So before I found James, I couldn't really find a lender that speak my language.
Yeah.
Because we like this and they just really not used to this. So it's so important that you know a lender that know this type of product. We talk about the same language, and sometimes it's just a little trick. It make a difference. For example, the rental comes that he mentioned about, we have one deal that we have to cancel because the appraiser was an idiot. That they just give us the value, and then I provided the comps, I provided everything possible. This didn't work through, but every time he already like grab the appraisal, like present all the comps and whatever possible. If you go to just a standard traditional lender, they don't know this might be a potential risk.
Right.
And they don't do that ahead of time to prevent that to happen.
Right.
And so it's so important that you really know, and also this product, I have one of my biggest investors go to him because the guy used another lender. And then when he had 10 property, the other lender say, look, that's it, I can't do anything else for you. And he's like, what? I can do it, come over here. And now he got 16. So there's a ton of loan products out there. he's a broker, so that's one thing I work with him because he's a broker. So every time I'm like, hey, I need this. Can you go shop and find out who can do this? And then he go out and say like, oh, we have 3, but this guy, need this and need that. Can you do it? I'm like, yes, I can. Then we make it happen. So the beauty of a broker, they can go find different products for you.
Yeah, thank you.
So the next one is the Liberty Capital Support product. These are fantastic full doc products. From a rate perspective. Rental properties are probably pushing, high 7s, 8s on investment properties when you have LLPA, which are loan level price adjustment. Basically, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, which are basically all your conforming conventional type loans, right? They have adjustments to the rate to hit investors, right? Because they'd rather, if they had they'd rather everybody have a primary residence. And the primary residence, most people believe that going as the primary is going to treat you better than someone just has it as an investment. So they have adjustments because it's risk. So that's why an investment property is higher rate than a primary. So back to using those primary programs when you can or your clients can is key. But these are some strong programs. You can do 80%. So on a multi-unit, this is 1 to 4 unit, no hit. So on Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, you're getting hit if you're doing a multi-unit. You're getting hit if you're doing a 4 unit. You're getting hit if you're doing cash out. So on this one, they'll give you 75 cash out, Fannie Mae 70 on a 4 unit. You can get a rate of 5.875 on a 5-year arm, which is going to give you fixed for 5 years, plenty of time to ride out the inflation wave, which has caused the rates to go up dramatically this year. We were at 8% inflation. They're trying to get it back to 4%. And most people believe that will happen in second or third quarter of next year, possibly sooner. So this gives you 5 years fixed, no risk in that 5 years. You look back 5 years ago, values and things, there's refinancing. You got plenty of time to refinance. We can also do, blanket loans. So you can do blanket loans where, hey, I want to buy 5 loans in Hilltop. They're smaller value. I don't want just one loan. I want to kind of string them together. You can do that. We also have a construction rehab on these programs. And this one is a little bit different than fix and flip in that you're not doing the loan to cost, which is, okay, I'm buying it for 100, put 20 down. You're doing the down payment on the overall price of the home, which would be the ARV. But you're also getting a lot better rate on that program. That's a construction rehab. And with this rehab, people hear, oh, well, 2 or 3 Ks with this. You can be your own contractor on these. Very lenient guidelines with respect to who's doing the work and the contractor, which, your reno guys and stuff like that love. So these are kind of 3 basic programs that can get your clients or yourself to buy and invest in real estate, into all sorts of deals. We also do, commercial. So we do, office buildings, we do, 6 to 20 apartments, multi-use. So depending on the situation, depending on what that is, we offer that as well. So what I would do is, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna ask if you could talk a little bit about, and maybe this will help you too, so it's not just me and Rick.
Sure.
But like my situation where I want to use my current house that will become the investment property. And maybe not necessarily use the equity in it, but have, my down payment for the next house already, or what the options look like.
Couple options there. So, primary, that's usually where it starts. So it's a great question. Because you guys will all probably have clients in this exact situation. So that's kind of what it's under there as a blanket, but that's called, a bridge. So there's a couple ways to do it. When you call us, we're going to say, okay, well, one thing that you'll learn from me when I talk to you, I don't have the best product or we don't do it well, I'll probably say, hey, you should do this first. So there's maybe a situation, I have a line of credit, but I won't sell it to you. Do I, right? I'll pay you, may go third federal, they give me a line of credit. But whatever. But I'm gonna tell you, hey, this is a better way to do it. But so you can do line of credit, you can do bridge. Another great way
Isn't bridge though, like gives you a loan on a new house, but then when you sell the house, it pays for your loan on the new
So
one?
what it is you're encumbering both houses with one mortgage, and then you do a partial release. So what you're doing is I need access to my equity, this oil, I gotta drill into it to get it, because I don't have the cash, right? And in this market, at least 6 months ago, there's no way I can do it with a contingency, because no one's gonna take my offer. So the bridge is one of those in the moment type products. It won't be used, at least for the next few months, as much, but there's still those contingency, and we're not doing contingency. But in certain markets, you can now get contingency, but the bridge is designed to tap into that equity. You're gonna have the one mortgage that's encumbering both. When I sell, we do a partial release, and then you have that. Now, you're generally gonna refi out of the bridge. Because now that I've gotten rid of that and done my partial release, let's get me into a conventional loan. Now, I used to do like the 1-year arm on the bridge. You'll notice there's 1-year arm because it was the lowest rate. And we're gonna come back and get you into the 2.75. Well, now it's not 2.75. So why don't we take the 5-year and ride it out on the bridge? Another way to do it, let's say I got cash, right? I don't need the down payment, but you know what? I don't debt ratio. Because I got this house, I got the money, I can buy this house, but I don't debt ratio. What we can do, that's called a vacating primary, and I can use a lease for that. All I need is a lease on your primary residence. Hey, here's the lease. I don't need a check, I don't need a deposit. Here's the lease. We've done that together, right? We're gonna wash out your current mortgage. And now I'm gonna buy the next one.
Oh,
So if you can, like, who's the biggest group gonna be buying house? Millennials. Someone mentioned it earlier, which is their house, you can house hop, right? They're young, maybe they're in their 20s, early 30s. They already live in an apartment by themselves. They've moved in the last 5 years because they had 12-month leases every time. Well, just take that. Okay, now I'm gonna go primary. I'm gonna use my vacate primary lease, get my next primary, so you can buy 4 or 5 properties doing it that way. Once you filed on the property, then you're on tax returns. So vacating prior is a great way to be able to debt ratios. So those 2 ways, whether it's bridge or, you could, depending on the rate, you cash out refi, so it's.
as long as
it's
you
probably-
have that lease signed, then you're good. with
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, as long as you haven't kind of lined up, so to speak. So,
James,
yeah,
back in the day, we didn't need the lease, it's coming back.
Does that,
well, we just only needed, we used to remember, like, back in the day, you needed like the pause.
so, 2 questions. First, if you were to do that where you got the lease, would you still, then at that point, you would need cash for your down payment on the new loan?
Correct.
And then also, does that, I'm assuming that the lease amount has to be equal or more than what your current mortgage
You're gonna get
is.
75% of the lease amount, so my mortgage is, $1,000, and I'm gonna rent it for $1,250, and then I would get a complete wash. It depends on the person.
Well,
You may not-
I'm just wondering for the lending purposes, does it have to be a certain number that you're getting? for
No,
that?
it's just whatever it takes to get you to debt range. So,
Okay.
for instance, you may not need that full 75, so let's just say I need to get a renter in there and I got a lease. And I just rented it for cheap, just get them in there for that first year. Well, as long as it was enough, after we haircut it by 75 to debt ratio, then you'd be fine. So in that, when you're using the vacating primary, you usually have your down payment.
Right.
You don't, that's not your problem, it's you just don't debt ratio,
That's the plan.
right? The other problem is I don't have the cash.
Sure.
It could be both. I don't have the cash or I don't have debt. Now I need vacating primary with potentially a bridge or something like that. So there's layers to some of this stuff. It's not, all cut and dry, but that's why you need a lender that you can call and run through these scenarios for different borrowers and different folks and
One more
different struggles.
question. In that situation, when you're in that situation, you're leasing the primary, then when you're buying your new one, is it a 20% maintenance?
Percent in that example.
Sorry,
You can do 5% down.
down payment on the new house?
It's also a great question. glad you asked it, because what I would do in that one.
I've been thinking about this for a long
Yeah,
time.
here's what I'd like to do on that one. So we're gonna go vacate primary and lease, clears up my debt ratio problem. I don't wanna go bridge, because I don't wanna have to come back and whatever. I can get a better term if I can come up with that 5%, right?
Okay.
Well, you can use gift funds for that, remember, so any family member, cousin, widow, but. They know I'm probably gonna sell my house down the road, I'm gonna have this cash. That I can, essentially get them back in another gift. But. So I wanna buy another primary, well, I don't need 20 to buy a primary, I only need 5, potentially 3, it depends on what you qualify for, but. Generally 5, because it's
The
your
more you
second
put
house.
down, the better.
Well, not necessarily, because we're investors here, we want a capital preserve. So we want to do 5 on the primary, because it's already at the lowest rate, and save the cash for the next investment, is what I was probably advising you to do. Because that's gonna be at the best rate, so it can have the highest balance. We're gonna use the additional monies to buy the investment property. But we would wash out the mortgage payment with the lease, put 5% down on the new house. And then when I sell this house, I'm going to recast this mortgage if the rates weren't better, otherwise I refund. So when it was 2.75, they didn't want to have to refund. We would recast them, which means now I got my 100,000 because I sold my house that I would have put down. This only costs you like $300, not a refinance. Basically what they do is they take that money and they re-amortize the loan. Here's your payment as if you would have put that down originally. Which was great when the rates were lower. When you sold that property, I would go, hey, yeah, you should recast it, or hey, rates have dropped since, that bloody fall of 2022 where rates were.
Well, I was in particular, like, I know my story, that the next house we live in is gonna be our house, like.
Right.
Our 15, 20, like, we're not going anywhere after that.
Yeah.
And using that rental and all it has to offer to get more rentals. from
Right.
that.
Right, yeah, that's a good way to start doing it.
No, we don't have to do it for real.
I know. Yeah, I know, one more, less than a year. Less than a year, when Travis is like 6 months into his senior year at New Albany and they can't kick us out, then I'm gonna do it. Yeah, no, 100%, for sure. Yeah.
Any
My
other
husband
questions
doesn't have
on
anything.
financing?
No, he's already on board. I mean, I've been talking to him about it for years now, so he's like,
Thank you so much.
And we love new agents too.
Thank you.
Or just one-on-one.
Love it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy, thank you so much for putting on such an informative,
Yeah, this is great.
and it's easy to do when you're so passionate about it, so.
It's not hard. I just.
And there's beer and food, please eat some, we want to hear as
Yeah,
much about.
email me any of the stuff you wanna share, I already have your.
If we had an LLC, you got to work strong. Fine. Yeah, you can do it, just because you have the right to do it, doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, well, Last year I wanted to do something cheap. But
I know.
My $25,000 for a house. So I can
You wouldn't want to ask me.
I wouldn't be sitting there right now.
Yeah. Reached out to.
Get my son involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tracy's been offered.
Yeah.
Tracy, you want me to log you out of everything? Because. You the PowerPoint that I sent you, is that cool? And then whatever, if you want this to be a blank spreadsheet or whatever.
I really like this spreadsheet.
I can email you, but.
It's my spreadsheet. So if we want to hire, I'm gonna try to log in. Actually, so,
Okay.
fine.
I got it.
But again, my philosophy is. Doesn't have to be, that's it.